Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Welcome Valerie, Dawn, John, Gayton, Rex, Wade, Arturo, Ivan. About to be the best ever. Nice. Rosalind, Pat, welcome. Will, Jan, SK, Jim. Hey everybody. And if you want to chat with me like all these awesome people right here, click the button right here. This little green logo overlaying the video, click on it. Be a subscriber on the channel. A few seconds later, you can chat with me while we're live. And when we get to the request portion, you can make a request. Don't do it yet because it'll get lost in the chat. Afternoon, Frank. Glad for having you as a channel member. And welcome, everybody. We're going to go through some Tesla earnings stuff, and I will cover even more of that tomorrow morning, so you may not want to miss that. We'll go through some numbers tomorrow morning on the whole thing. Hey, good afternoon, General Rush. Good to see you, sir. Don't miss out on the in-person event next year coming up in March, General. Just want to make sure you're aware. Anyway, hope you saw it in Discord. All right, welcome everybody. This is all AI generated. I thought I did a pretty slick job generating that car right there. Anyway, we've got PMI reports coming out later in the week too, and we'll do at least 30 minutes of your request after I hit the highlights. I'm just gonna go through a brief chunk of tickers, kind of give a market overview, and then we'll take requests right there. That seems to be the popular layout. We've been doing this for 3 years now. 3 years. I think it was last week was the 3-year anniversary. Wow, it's been a long time. And my favorite subscriber is here. Dun, 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 dun. Kimberly in the house. Hey, Tara. Hey, Laura. Good to see everybody as always. And here we are. 30 minutes of awesome. This show started the live stream kick right here. And it's been, I don't know, it was more popular before more recent time. More recently, it's started not being very popular. So if you like it, if you want me to continue doing it, you're gonna have to tell people to show up, because when people don't show up, we don't have requests. And the whole point of the show is a request show. So welcome to the stream. And all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. So anything I might predict here today may not come true. That's, past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. I get lucky a lot, but sometimes I don't. I mean, that's kind of the way it works. Silver hitting 35 today. Ka-chow. We'll talk about that more here in a minute. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining. It is not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instruments, which includes stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. I mean, you got 50-50 odds. You buy something, there's 50-50 chance. You might win, you might lose. You sell something, there's 50-50 odds. You might win, you might lose. I mean, the naive condition is 50-50 odds. Now, my whole purpose and work with traders like you is to try to give you an edge in the markets. But if you need somebody you just need somebody to tell you what to do. You need personal financial advice. It's not what I'm doing here. That's not my goal at all. You need to hire and consult a financial advisor. So, looking at Tesla earnings, well, we have some statistics, and I just clicked close on the window. That was smooth. Smooth move, Xlax. All right. Let me pull it back up because I hit close and I didn't click on it right to leave it in the history. Search. There it is. Tesla earnings moves. All right. Pop this out. Pull it over. So we've done a little bit of math here. And we've got all the way back to 2015, which is getting darn near 10 years of earnings. That'd be 40 earnings cycles. We have the candle color going in. We've got the beat or not beat. We've got whether it's in the top, middle, or bottom of a trend. And believe me, I've exhausted this. We see the results afterwards, the days to do that, and some notes to me about what we did. The average move is 13% down. The move is in percent. 13% down. Percent of the time we do that is 71% of the time. The average trading days to perform the drop, That's candles. Remember, the candle maker is not open on the weekends, so this is actual trading days, is 6. 6 days on average to get to the bottom of the drop. We dropped 71% of the time, and the average move is down 13%. That's kind of interesting, I think. I mean, I'm all about high probability events. So what does that leave us, though? That leaves us 29% of the time we don't drop. And I don't have a statistic on the pop, but a lot of times the pop is pretty substantial. Look at that, 66% pop, another one right there, and a 26er, a 50%er. So some of the pops are substantial pops. All right. I might talk more about this. Oh, well, I definitely will talk more about this in the morning, and I may have some statistics on the pops. This may be one of those times where we see a pop. Just, we've been consolidating. Let's go look at the charts and see what I'm talking about. Dun, 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 dun. Funny enough, I don't have the Tesla chart up. But look how many days we've sat. We dropped on the Robo event, and we sat here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. 8 dojis in a row, sitting on top of the roadmap line, sitting on top of the downtrend line. This is a long-term downtrend line that goes all the way back to the top in 2021. This is ripe for the pop. Now, we'll talk more about this even more in the morning, but 50% pop, we could be looking at 350. That's been, hey, somebody I know has been talking about a 350 target for a while. That'd be pretty wicked. 60% pop, 66. Haven't really seen much over 66, so let's not get too hopeful. But 66% pop puts us right up there around 360. Feels like 350 might be a real target zone. Just saying. Earnings come out tomorrow after the close, so that'll get nice and spicy moving forward. Of course, the average 13% drop. We'd be remiss if we didn't at least look at that. That could be a move down here to around, a little bit nasty, $1.90, $1.89, $1.90, I mean, 190, excuse me, 189, 190. A little bit sour grapes for me, Ruben. That's not so good. So those are potential possibilities. Remember, we have the PMI services and manufacturing coming up on Thursday. Make sure I got the right data. Right here we go. Oh, did I click the right thing? Nope, I'm on the wrong week. I was like, something's not right. Something's not right. Right here, Thursday. Right there, 9:45. And grab some new home sales also right there, just after the market opens. So that can be a little bit of a flash, especially the services right there. It can be a little bit of a flash, tongue in cheek, into the market, causing a little bit of volatility right there. So we've got this coming up. We've got the Tesla earnings Wednesday after the close. Tomorrow after the close, Tesla earnings get spicy. Then we have this right at the open on Thursday. And then coming up the next week. We have a ton of big tech earnings. Tesla's one, but we have a ton between Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta, bunch of them coming up right here, 30th and 31st. And then we roll into the next week, which is election week, right there on Tuesday. Is the incumbent going to win? Is the challenger going to win? I don't know. Poly market certainly slanting more toward the challenger. And then we have the FOMC meeting start on Wednesday and end on Thursday. So not only are we going to get that chaotic 1-2 punch from the election, but then we're going to follow it up. And, I forgot one more thing. One more thing next week. Coming up down here, Thursday, We get PCE right before the election. We get some personal consumer expenditures, and then we get GDP right in there too the day before. So we get GDP along with big tech earnings on the 30th. Then we get PCE right there with big tech earnings on the 31st. Whew, it's going to be a wild ride. And then we get the start of November right there with all the jobs reports, ISM, PMI, some more PMI numbers right there. We're in for a wild ride the next 2.5 weeks. A wild ride indeed. I'm not even sure. I mean, I'm not even sure what's going to happen here. So, yeah, poly market is definitely got. If you haven't been, oh, clicked on the wrong one, or maybe I closed it. Yeah, it looks like I closed it. But it's over here. Hold on. Unless I just closed the whole thing. That would have been smooth because I keep closing stuff. Let's pop back over. Where did I put the link to that thing? I got too many windows open. I'm going to start closing stuff. Golly. What all do I have open? That was last week's earnings. Crap, a lot of good that does. And here's this week's earnings. All the fun stuff we got to deal with. That's the federal chunk right there. Where did it go? Nope, that's not it. Not told. Dadgummit. Sometimes I click on the wrong window and close it. Genius. Let's see if it'll come up. Poly market. There it is. There it is. Grab it over here. I can draw on it when we do this. Right there you go. Trump is right now 64% favored. Whew. Either somebody's going to lose a bunch of money or the financial markets have a good idea who's going to win. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. Anyway. If you haven't seen this, here it is. It's just polymarket.com event, and you can go right in here. It's probably one of the hottest ones right now. Look how much money's tied up in this. $2.2 billion of volume right there. Got 727 billion on Trump, and you can actually vote yes or no on Trump and yes or no on Kamala. And $460 billion volume right there, or 460 million, excuse me. 727 million. Misspeaking. 2.2 billion total. You'll fund the government for like 30 seconds. All the money flying around there. Anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Dun 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 dun. There you go. Hey, that's Marty. What part of the disclaimer did you miss? If you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. I'm not going to tell you to do jack squat. You have to make the choice for yourself. Now, could we pop? Yeah. Could we drop? Absolutely. Could be down to 190. And I don't want to hear you crying in the beer if we drop to 190. Those are the two possibilities at this point. I'll talk more about it tomorrow morning with some more numbers. All right. Moving on. Moving on. ES today. What a wild ride that was. Whoo-wee. We were dropping. We were popping. You know, we didn't get the extension. But that doesn't negate dropping from here. This is still a lower high. This high right here. This high right here. This high right here. And this one is lower than all of those. Downtrend can continue. We did drop down to the roadmap line at the close. And it'll reopen in about 45 minutes. And we'll see where we get. If we break down below this point right here, we are likely to extend it on down into the 5,700 area. somewhere down, maybe here, possibly down, even lower down to here. Dun, 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 dun. I drew that circle this morning. Here's the next level on down, right down in there. Well, that was cool. That's not what I wanted. So, why down there? Fib extensions. All right. In Q, just kind of churning. This one looks slightly positive biased. We did make a higher high today than we've made. So this puts the two indexes at odds with each other a little bit. Why the purple zone? Well, that was the purple danger zone I talked about coming into the election. Dun, 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 dun. This is kind of a danger zone that we could pop and come out of this and drop. But if we just churn for the next 2 weeks, we'll see. We'll see. We do have a lot of big tech earnings. I think we're going to see which way this is going to go pretty quickly. Now, odds are we're heading up here. How we get there? I don't know. We can dip first and then pop. That's entirely possible. We have the odds are we're going up here. And how much are the odds? Well, we turn on my little statistic gatherer. 70% of the time that we've made this setup, over 31 closed trades in the past, 31 times this setup in the past, we go up with a profit factor of 3. So relatively a positive expectancy, but that does leave 29% of the time, kind of like Tesla, 29% of the time, we can fail the pattern and drop. There you go. High probability stuff to go up, but doesn't have to. And moving on down the list, Russell. Oh, this one has muddied the water for this chart right here. Now, this does have a probability to go up, and that probability is higher than Nasdaq's, although not statistically significant. See, we only have 9 times we've set this up in the past. You'd be like, 9's pretty good for me. 9 is not a statistical population. 30 is a statistical population. 9 is not. So this kind of basing decisions on 9 is somewhat flawed, right? It does have a stronger percent profitable, but by the time we get up to 30 here, this number may not be anywhere close to 89 anymore. All right. The profit factor is very strong here, and the average trade lasts 29 days, which we have well exceeded already from the entry right over here. That was the entry candle signal right there. We did a retrace, we did a move up, we did a retrace again, we did a move up, and we were doing a retrace again. It has not come to the target. Be careful. That target would be right up there about 2370. If we're going to go there, we may take a trip back down to the roadmap line first. Now, that 29 days on average is an average. We can last 2 times the average, 3 times the average, 4 times the average, 5 times the average. Make a whole new average that's way longer. So, put it all into perspective there. And next up, oil. This has been an interesting chart right here. Looks like it's heading back into the coin flip zone. Now we could possibly be finishing out at head and shoulders. If we get back in this zone, it's back into the coin flip zone. So oil right now, giving slight edge to the incumbent team with this current drop, but holding on to it. And we may, in just a couple of short days, we could be well back into this zone. And it doesn't have to finish the head and shoulders pattern. I drew it on there. Doesn't have to come true. Just something I kind of saw shaping up. It looked very shoulder head. Maybe the start of a shoulder this morning. Maybe it gets continuation lower. The neckline is the tell. That's a very crooked neckline I drew. Neckline would be down in there. And you'd be like, well, that's a little lower, and then it doesn't quite complete because that one's not low enough. So, I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. Does it work? Does it fail? Now, if we break back in the triangle, this zone in here, color, hatch that in right there. That zone in there is the coin flip zone. If for some reason we shot right through it, broke out the top, that would be the incumbent winning. So it looks like we may go back into the coin flip zone and oil not be the decider on who might win. Oil is trading like we're in a global recession. Just saying. Like, it's really odd. We look at Brent, it's all trading like we're in some sort of global recession. No demand for oil whatsoever globally. That's not the way the stock market's performing. Stock market having like the best year in 47 years or something like that. Kind of crazy. At odds with each other. Gasoline prices sitting down here. Now, is this a potential 1-2-1-2 or is this a 1-2-3 up and we're getting ready to do some continuation lower? That is the question. Unclear at this point. Corrections are unclear. That has three-wave structure. Not clear. At least on the daily chart. I'm not digging in deeper right now because this is all mucky. We just came off the lowest low right there in September. Heating oil, diesel fuel. That one also made the lowest low right here in September. Yeah, funny enough, it didn't happen in August when we had the big flush out in the market. It was only about a month later. Now, bounced off the bottom of the roadmap line, and we're just sitting in no man's land right now. It's not a constructive move up, not a constructive move down, not a anything. So right now, those are all soft. They're in corrective territory, hunting for a bottom, maybe a reversal, maybe not a reversal. It's definitely hard to tell based on what we have here. Definitely hard to tell. Now, this could be a measured bounce, and this could spark off very quickly here on heating oil / diesel fuel. We could see this rapidly appreciate up into this $283 area right up here if this thing got sparky. Right up in this zone pretty quickly. I mean, that could be up there in a few days. I can light a rocket. All right. Like, how do you know a few days? Well, take a trip back here into some other volatile periods of time. We've seen very quick price appreciation on diesel fuel over just a few days. All right, when this thing gets sparky and rips, it tends to get sparky and rip. That's just the way this thing typically moves when it gets a wild hair. And certainly when we make a bottom, we can go ripping out of here very quickly. Now, back in other times, it was very small moves, but basically ever since COVID, we've had some very volatile moves in diesel prices. Kind of the modern market here on diesel. So this has been relatively calm, and we may see some more volatility creeping into the diesel markets. Natural gas has come back to retest the roadmap line. Interesting here. Lower highs. Back to the roadmap line. If we can hold it and turn up again, break above the 618 level, this would be the first indication that we're going to possibly make an extension up to about $4. Would be a break up through this 270 zone right here. We're at 231 right now. Break up through 270. Probably going to go cruising up here to 4. 350 to 4. Gold has been rocking and rolling. Beautiful chart, beautiful move. Right to that 2760 level, right there. Beautiful move. Nailed it. Nailed it, nailed it. Now, what do we expect next? We could go climbing on up here, but we also could be in for a rest. All right. Gold has made a large move already. It is broken out. It's been broken out and been running for quite a while. Like the breakout on gold was back here in March. We broke out through these highs that we worked on. That high, that high, that high, that high. And we broke out and we've been running and going on extensions. All right. Gold does not have to keep running, but 2,900, very real extension. And that's just an echo of the move that we did back here in 2018, 19, 20, right here, off of this low, put us right up here around 2,900. Now, silver, on the other hand, whole different ball of wax here. This one really just got started on its breakout, and we may see this go epically higher. epically higher. This one could easily pop up into this 40 area very, very easily. Now, 37, I think I kind of expect, 35 is what I've been saying for months and months. I expect 35, then 40. I think 37, we may be able to muster just some of the smaller little moves projected here off the current setup here, this current breakout zone. Project us up into the 37 area right there. If we can do it, it looks really nice. And we may pull back a little bit or consolidate at 37 before we can make the move on up to 40 area on up there. Now, zooming on out on silver, you see gold making all-time highs. Silver, we're going to have to break through 50 to get the extension up to 60 and 70 and even higher on silver. So while gold itself is sitting here, never been higher before. That's why I think there's giant opportunities still left in silver, although I'm cautious that we're going to find an intermediate kind of consolidation zone here. Get a little rest or retrace, but doesn't have to happen. We could just shoot on up through and get up here to 70, 80, possibly even 120. All right. Know where you're heading. Know which chart you're looking at. You're looking at the daily chart, 35, 40, 35, we're there. 37, 40, not far away. Time frame on the moves, 2030. And look at the climb rate. Look at the dates. These are not fast moves. Just project stuff. You got a fast projection, a slower projection, puts us in this whole wide range coming up through here. We're kind of in the middle right now. We could go a little accelerated. We could slow down. You tell me. Time is the hardest baby to predict right now. 37, 40, probably in the next month or three. Right in there. 37 could be by the end of the week. Throwing that out there. Could see that by this week or next week. HG has been kind of interesting. What is the best ETF for precious metals? It really depends. That sounds like a question for a financial advisor. What do you mean by best? What are your goals? I don't know what your goals are. Best is really like, there's tons of people that give you opinion. Opinions are like a-holes. Everybody's got one. What do I use? I've been using silver futures, like straight up trading options on futures. Not gonna lie, that's how I've been doing it. That's how I've been taking advantage of silver. So, copper, less awesome. Tried to break out back here in April. Not looking great. Not looking great. Anybody that tells you the way to play, that I would stay far away from them. Now, there's several ways to play. SLV is a real way to play. AGQ, another way to play. There's Ultra Silver, Ultra Gold, Ultra all sorts of stuff. You can buy leveraged shares. Should you play options on that stuff? Heck no. Do I have some options on SLV? Yes, I do. Do I have options on my majority of my money is tied up in SI? This future right here that I pulled up. I have options on futures. Do you know you can trade options on futures? You can. Do you know one option represents $5,000 per point move? Or one futures contract on silver represents $5,000 per point of move. So going from right here at 28 up here to 35. Think about that a minute. 28 to 35. That was $7 times $5,000 a point. That's $35,000 if you were long one contract of silver futures. Pretty wild, huh? Because they're different markets, William. Why is gold moving faster than Bitcoin? They're different markets. Bitcoin was way ahead of the curve, and that's consolidating. Once it breaks out, going to be a wild ride. So this potentially was a 3-wave up into this high on copper. We have moved up, we retraced, we held the 618. This sets up a measured bounce to the downside. Now, the last few days, we have been holding the roadmap line. This was a 3-wave up, so that is a potential first wave move down, 3-wave correction. We would expect, if this is going to be the finality move, we would expect the next move to be a 5-wave type structure and possibly make a lower low down here. You may be like, well, there's no way with gold and silver cranking it out that we're going to see copper plummet out. Oh, you should be careful making assumptions on anything. We can easily see copper do this right here. And look how fast this move happened right there. And if I use the drawing tool, that's what this is right here. I don't even have to make one. Delete that. This right here is that move right there. That right there. Look how fast that could put us down there. That could be there in December from where we are right now. If you went off the top right there, we could be just in the neighborhood right there in November. Right there in the election. I mean, even could flush that on down. That'd be a pretty wild ride. That's speed and size right there. We've already slowed down. We're a little bit behind if we're going to do that. So be careful. Be careful. I'm only out to November right now on my long silver. Well, I say that for the futures. I have spreads, and the bull put spreads I did were at 26 and 26, 27. The bull call debit spreads were at 30 and 32. And I'm almost out of everything. About to close it all out for about $10,000 profit. And the SLV I have is out to 2027. The AGQ I have is in shares. This I have out to 2026. $60 strike calls. I bought them right here. And we're looking for this pop to continue right up to there. Same move. Same move I always look for on everything. Could, since it's a measured bounce, could get really spicy. I think it's going to exceed my options duration. We could see a move up into this 120 to 140, possibly 150. On NEM. The fella I work with today was like, I bought gold, GOLD, Barrick Mining, and I bought NEM at the same time. And NEM is just crushing the performance of GOLD. I was like, I told you, the horse to bet on was NEM. NEM's chart was way better than GOLD. Probably didn't pull that up right. GOLD, Barrick Mining, right here. See how not awesome that chart is compared to how nice and clean that chart looks. Definitely something about picking the right one. All right. Touch on Bitcoin. Really quickly, we are stuck in the downtrend of highs. Similar to Tesla, stuck at the downtrend of highs. This is a much lower duration than Tesla's decline, but we are still stuck in the same position, waiting on something. What are we waiting on? You got me. I did expect a consolidation for 220 days post-halving, and that time period is coming up right out here around Thanksgiving. So we may have one more month of this, whatever it is, one more month of choppy sideways price action here before we can break out and get moving. This was the expected duration. I talked about this quite a bit. We're nearing the end. 1 month left. Now, what happens when we get to there? We should be on the breakout, but it could be one of those rare times where it takes longer than the average, and we take a little bit longer to actually get going. We did poke up through the downtrend, so we're softening it up. We could see this pop. It may retrace to the roadmap line. Either way, could retrace, could pop. Remember, this Bitcoin is not gold. Gold is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not related to gold and silver. People are like, oh, it's the new blah, blah, blah. No, it's a new asset. It's a whole new asset class. Crypto is just its own thing. If you think of it like it's just gold or just silver or just like blah, 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 it's not. Don't treat it that way. If you do, you're in for a world of hurt. It is a volatile critter, and you've got to know what you're doing. If you just think, I'm just going to buy and hold, that's okay. Just know what you're in for. It is volatile. It's gut-wrenching. Ethereum finally kind of, I think we missed just barely. I'll zoom that up here in a second. Missed just barely. But we did touch the vicinity. Yeah, we didn't touch. Didn't touch. Oh, yeah, we did. There it is. Touch. We did touch yesterday, right there. This is on Coinbase. Just barely touched. Right behind, hiding behind the oval target. So what we need to happen now? That was only 3 waves, which not cool. Well, it depends on how you count it, I guess. Still could be a nested setup, but at least that one was 5. There was a 5 in there. This right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. Not very nice, not very clean, but that is 5. That could be 5. So this could be 5, this could be 5. So we may be building a nested setup here. So what do we expect next? A retrace right back to this vicinity right here. Right like that. And this is ideal. And then we get the bounce right up there like that. Breakout and go. All right. Now, if you're going to make a request, I need capital letters, the full ticker that I can look up in TradingView. If I'm going to make me work for it, if you're like, I want to look up Apple, and you write out AAPL, and I'm like, I don't know the ticker off the top of my head, then I'm just going to skip it. All right. I will attempt, but if you make it difficult on me, I'm just going to skip it. 1 ticker per person per request. Please let 1, preferably 2 people go before you make another request. If you are kind of dominating the chat, I'm just going to skip you. If you're going to ask me a question, please use complete sentences. Don't say, hey, you forgot my blah, blah, blah. Just tell me what it is you want. Be clear, and I will get to it as quickly as I possibly can. I'm going to hang out as long as I can. And usually that's lately been about 45 minutes to an hour from right now. All right. I see Mara is the first one up there I saw. And we're just sitting on top of the roadmap line. Possible breakouts, but the confirmation is not until we're way up here. Way on up here. So right now, you can get your hopes up, but you may get them dashed. We've got a lot of resistance between where we are and where we want to go. I'm going to move back over to the cleaner chart that we usually talk about on here. Reload, refresh. There we go. And flip down to the daily charts. The other chart was my morning chart, so let's zoom this up and talk about what we got. Come on, come on. So we potentially measured bounced right there. We've got the retrace from that high to this low. Here's the resistance going higher right there. And we're just kind of sitting in the range. Do I have a lot of money tied up in this? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Could this break out and run at any point? You betcha. We've got a downtrend of highs coming across there. We're going to have to break that. We're going to break the 618 and break this prior high. 1, 2, 3 down into the low. It's a lot of stuff stacked against it. All right, Oxy still looks pretty crap to me. No low in sight. Possibly going to extend down to 45. AEM is no real target in sight. Yeah, we're going to have to go up. This high, this low. Could see a target up here around this zone, and it could be out here to 25, 26. We've got a pretty good climb going, but that doesn't mean we won't consolidate before we make it on up there. This was a nice long consolidation, so we could see a fast little dip and rip to get up there. All right, DJT basically completed the downside, and it's like we've rallied back up and just kind of parked at the roadmap line here. And I don't really expect anything at the moment. Still kind of hanging. Ooh, hanging right at the in the vicinity of that. Jumping back over here. There's more resistance right there. It's hard to work off of that with no retrace, so don't know what to tell you there as far as the target goes. That resistance right there could break out and run, but it may also reject and come back down. I don't see any high probability anything. We did the high probability thing I said was going to happen was that right there. We got there. After that, I don't see much. I don't see much. TLT. Pushing through the 618. Not good. Not good. It's got a little zone here. And if we get through that, probably coming down right over here. 84, 85. So below 90-ish. Probably coming down here to 84, 85. And possibly making a lower low. Maybe like, at this point, you may be like, no way. Well, watch for. Oh, we're so close. Yeah, we break down. It's very well could make a lower low. Very well could. Could be all the way down here. So we've got the 84, 85 area. Right in there. And then we also have this target potential down here. Around 80. So watch for those breakdowns. If we don't hold support now, right there, potentially right down here. That's TLT for you. URA. Still holding out for the 40 area. That high, that low. 35, 37, 42. That's what we got there. Now this may very well retrace all the way here before we do that. And it could be well out here before we get there. And I'm not hyped up on uranium right now. Lots of people are, but I'm not. I don't feel like it's a trade. Daggone it. I'm going to have to restart something. It's being stupid. If I type the wrong ticker, if I mistype one letter, it like goes into this freak out thing. Ulta bounced off the roadmap line right there. And that was 3 moves up. 1, 2, 3. Into that roadmap test. Continuation would be lower. Potential target around 300 down here. For a target. That would be what I expect on Ulta. If you're hoping for a turnaround, sorry, not yet. GS looks like it wants to retrace back to the roadmap line right there. SMR. It can extend higher, but it looks like it wants to retrace. SMR. Yeah, that probably tapped out for now. Hit the targets, retrace. Would be in order. We could extend it. I mean, it could make 21 or 29, but retrace looks in order on that one. And JetBlue. Low price stuff, caution. Things under $10 do not always follow the pattern. Target was 8. Almost got there. May push it just a little higher at 870, possibly 10, but I would expect another deeper retrace after we get that. There is substantial resistance right there from those prior highs too. So if we were to pop up there, likely to find some resistance getting higher. Hit there once, hit there twice, hit there 3 times, and then plummeted out to the basement. I bet you there's some silvers come in right in that area. And GE, talked about that this morning. Nothing really to talk about. Probably coming back to the roadmap line. And Wolf. There's not going to be real change on Wolf for a long time. Resistance is the roadmap line. Right there. If you followed me on the trade, there's going to be virtually no updates for a long time. The trade setup was right here. Slow. This high. Logarithmic. Nope. Back to log. Yeah. So potential. Wrong arrow. Potential for that to be the bottom. Could go deeper. Could test on down to 5. Entirely possible. That would be support. The potential upside. That low, that high, that low. Gets pretty ridiculous. That's why I took a shot at it. Ridiculous numbers. I bought a couple shares. Not much, just a couple shares because, hey, 100x on a couple shares sounds like a pretty good deal to me. How long? We could be talking like 2040, 2050. That's what we could be talking about. I mean, look at the climb rate over here. It took a while. That one took that long. Yeah, we could be talking, like I said, 2050. Maybe like, I don't plan on living that long. Well, don't get involved in that one. Could be a while. All right. And I just skipped the chat. That was pretty cool. I'm way behind, so if you're talking, I'm not seeing it. ALB. Animal Marble. So that's kind of funny, right? Look at that. The monthly chart, we're just back to potentially a roadmap bounce. Right there. We did it over here. Did it again. Same pattern. High time frame. Nice and slow. It's going to be a while before we break up through. Get through the 618. Possibly go up to 400. Back to reasonable time frame. We're still in a downtrend. Maybe like a lower low. May not have finished this up yet. This may go lower again. Rejected off the roadmap line, just like we did over here. We may push down, make a lower low, somewhere around 65. And meta. Lots of people are requesting meta, and guess what? It's already at the target zone. well up through it, and we may retrace it on earnings coming up right there on the 30th. WNT, Walmart, just keeps grinding higher. Where's the target? Well, underneath us. We just keep going higher, and I'm a trend pullback continuation trader, and when we just shoot off to the moon, that's a dangerous sign for me. Going straight up usually results in something like straight back down. Come back to that kind of level. Be careful. Can it shoot on up even higher? It can, certainly. But it can also come straight down pretty fast. And that's a monthly chart, so be careful. We haven't been down to the roadmap line since December. We're getting close to a year since we've been down there for Walmart. LRCX is potentially going lower. Below the roadmap line. Low. How low can she go? Not gonna like this. Potentially down here. Around 50, 49.50 area right down here. And AFRM firm. So potential for that to go up to 60, 66. There's a bug on the light right there. Y'all can't see it, but very clear to me. It's landing right on the light. Anyway, NutX, Nutex, however you want to say it, NutX, and broke through the roadmap line, retraced, set up a very relatively small scale potential to rally to 28, 29. I would be very careful. This is dumpster fire territory with the repeated reverse splits. Golly. I wouldn't touch this with your money, but you're welcome to do whatever you want to. That's likely to go down more because that's the way these work. And GRBK. Green Brick Partners. I don't know that this is a chart I've ever looked at before, but probably hitting some resistance and maybe do a retrace. And GM, General Motors. Wow, look at that pop. Beautiful. Right up to 54 targets. 59 above that if we can do it. We may retrace before we can get it there. Right there. Right there. And Lulu. The Y in there. LU, LU. Fudge, fudge, fudge. And we're at the resistance right there. This high, this low, way down there. Resistance zones aplenty. I have to break through that 380 zone to indicate we're going on up to 580. So we have the resistance right where we are. I would kind of expect it to pop up. Retrace back to here. Find some supports and go like that. Then probably retrace again. That would be my primary expectation right there. How long? Well, you can see that's well out into 25 right there. And it could be much slower right there. So options may be rough to play on that one. BTBT. Nice potential. Now, compared to Mora, this is actually breaking out, doing positive things, and may very quickly, rapidly appreciate to higher prices. Very, very quickly. Off this high, this low. We've broken through the 618 right over. We did it all the way over here, retraced, did it again, retraced, did it again, retraced, did it again, broke out of the downtrend. This sets the stage for 6, 7, 10. And if you look at the bigger picture, potential, maybe, just maybe, 16 and 30. And maybe something ridiculous, but we could return back to the high right there at 30. And as you can see over here, we did that in like a week and a half, from 5 to 30. So we could go from 5 breakouts to 30 pretty darn stupidly fast. be careful betting against it. And if you're going to get into it, make sure you got some alerts set or some profit targets to get GTFO when we get up to these lofty targets. BTIQ is not a ticker. And Apple. Target is still 243. Just consolidating right under there. Earnings are coming up next Thursday. CNI. Going down in a blaze of glory. So, just idle curiosity. Why would you want to trade CNI? Looks like a stock going nowhere. SMPS. I mean, if you got a strategy for it, great. But it's not the kind of thing I'm looking for. I'm looking for trending stuff that I can grab a piece of. SMPS probably going to drop down to 437, 447 if we get below this 488 area. So we've got this support kind of right there. If we get below that, probably going to come right down here to the next extension down. There's always the possibility we break out. We have to get through that downtrend of highs. ASS. Coals. Man, what a nasty chart. Would not surprise me. Well, we did make a lower low. Wouldn't surprise me to get down to 16 though. Please. I don't know what please was. QCOM. Sitting on the roadmap line. This has a large outsized upside potential based on the log scale. But it's not moving. That concerns me. This is like, it reminds me of what Bud did. So right here, QCOM came down and just kind of parked at the roadmap line. Bud here. We have to fly back over here. Right here, we came down. This was on all the nasty news. Rallied up, stopped in this zone, came back, made a lower low, and then rallied, and then retraced, and then rallied, and retraced, and rallied, and retraced. And currently trying to break out, but this is taking a long time. So QCOM reminds me of that pattern. Look, I mean, it looks kind of the same. So we may see this in the coming weeks and months. Make a lower low right in there. Then rally up. Retrace. Rally up. And maybe finally break out. But it could be a while. Like a long while. QCOM, what is that one? LMT, Lucky. No, don't leave the site. LMT, nice retrace. I would expect this to come back to the roadmap line. Well through all the targets. And we may see that retrace. Oklo. A lot of people like this for a uranium play. It looks like a dangerous chart to me. Anything that looks like a heartbeat, EKG, just not playable for me. Just not the way I roll. GILD. Long consolidation. Finally breaking through, probably 93 on the upside for Gilead. Already did GM, MCD. Oops, MCD, not CMC. Man, nice extension. And right to the target. Didn't even have to draw it. 337 would be the next upside resistance right up here. And we may retrace before we pop up there. Not high probability. The high probability move was from here to here. Now, big question mark. Could it get here? Sure. Could it come back here? Sure. Lots of options. Market is back to open. 6 o'clock. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me. Remember, anything I say that's helpful, beneficial to you, give me a thumbs up on the video. Like and share with a friend. Make a comment on the chat. Let me know what you're finding value in and what you don't. This is virtually a dumpster fire without a reverse split, but probably going lower. That's Etsy for you. TGLS. What do you want to know? Almost. Oh, nice retrace. Right to, man, look at that. It hit my alert yesterday at that 1272. Probably going to retrace back down. Possibly? Question mark. Can we do it? I got shares. I'm just kind of sitting on them. Thought about dumping them yesterday. I was like, I'll just wait. So there you go. That's a measure bounce for you. Like QCOM, if it plays out. See, it kind of did the same thing. We got the initial move up, bounced off the roadmap line, lower low. Big pullback, big launch. And we're probably not done to the upside yet. Maybe up to 90. I'm going to put a couple more alerts in there. I may sell it at 88. Now, know where you're wrong. If we break that back down through this high, things are not looking good. If we get back down below 60, not looking good for a continuation higher. S-Bucks, long term. Potential measure bounce. Could be up here, well into 2026, 2027. Bounced here, false start, kind of like Budweiser, just on a lot bigger time frame. This could be a lot longer time frame. Could be 27, could be 28. Could bounce again. MU. Sitting here, consolidating. A lot like QCOM. May need a deeper flush here. Now, if we can break out, get through the 618, upsides aplenty. Could see a rally up to this 200, 300 area, 200, 220, maybe even as high as 300 up here. Be a stretch, but there you go. On MU, Mara already did. You can use the slider at the bottom here. Go back, throw myself back to the other side. MHO. Is probably going to retrace back to the roadmap line right there. And I got to roll the chat down. MHO. That's kind of funny. Y'all must be getting these in the same place. WM is stuck on the roadmap line. Stuck below that resistance right there. Ugh. See that gap down? That's the top of the box. We're kind of working on filling the gap. If we turn down, we break back below the roadmap line. That's the target down here. So there's the support. Here's the resistance. There's the upside target. There's the downside target. That's the long and the short for WM. And Uber is just kind of sitting here. Target. Retracing. Retrace to the breakouts. Do we go for the extension? Can we do that? Question mark. Or do we break down? If we fill that gap, probably got to go back to the roadmap line over here. That gap will be the tell. If we get below that gap. So if we hold the gap up there, earnings coming up, say, next week. Yeah, next week. Alrighty. AMD still looking for the downside. Push it below, pushing into the roadmap line. Target still down there, around 85 to 90. And hadn't changed. In NEWT, Newt. That's a downtrend of a chart. That was the bubble pattern. Even if you wouldn't call it a bubble, that's the bubble pattern. Exponential up, consolidation, and return to the low. If you've never seen this before, check it out. We get an exponential up. That's why I'm always cautious about that stuff. We get this consolidation. This happens more often than not, but because this is the psychology of how a market moves right here. We do this all the time across dozens and dozens of tickers right here. Thousands, hundreds, tens of thousands, just anything that's got money involved. We all do this. We get hope, we get optimism, we get belief, we tell everybody. And when people start telling you about stocks that aren't stock traders and aren't people that usually pay attention to stocks, hey, I got a hot stock tip. My friend of a friend, he went heavy in Tesla and went heavy in Nvidia, went heavy in SMCI, Euphoria. We're all going to be rich. Just got to tell everybody to buy some more. It's, the more people I tell, the higher we're going to go. And then we get a pullback, and we're just needing to wait for this to cool off. It's going to go higher again. Just got a little excited. We just need to cool off, and then, things aren't looking so good. Oh man, these are great companies, but they just need a little more time. They're going to come back. They'll go back up. Oh no, I'm losing all my money. I'm getting out. Be careful. Be careful. We see this pattern play out all the time. And that was one of them right there. Wasn't nearly as big as like Nvidia, but I mean, had you ridden that from $9 all the way up here to 39, 38, you'd be pretty excited. And then maybe you weren't good enough to, maybe you weren't brave enough, strong enough, had enough conviction to sell when we were doing this. We did a little baby one right there and broke down. And we did another rally here. Oh, we just need to break out, right? Nope. Down, down, down. And this downtrend can continue into the abyss. I don't like to get involved in that until it shows something positive, and that's not something positive yet. Sorry. Pep. Put a little pep in your step. That is stuck below resistance. Resistance right there. Oh, missed it. Right there. As long as we're below it, that would be the very real target if we can break above it. So draw a big heavy line there. If we break above it, target's right up here. 200-ish. So 150 or 200. Coin flip till we break up or break down. There's a nice support right here. There's the extension. Nice resistance here. And really what I expect to do, sideways. More sideways churn on Pepsi, because that's what it's been doing for a couple of years. With a little diversion up and a little diversion down, and mostly sideways. Cart. Dun, 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 dun. Maple Bear. Target's right up here. 48. And FTLF. Fit Life. Bounced off the roadmap line. Potential, if we can get above this, to go up to 36 and 37, possibly even up to 40. Right there. MSFT. That looked pretty good this morning, but alas, there's the resistance right at this prior high, right there. Going to have to get above it to go higher. I've got the alert set up there. This has the potential to go down, but we have now established a uptrend of lows. If we break below it, maybe heading down here. Maybe. If we break above that, probably heading up there, 480. In between, I would expect more sideways. Come on, delete that little arrow. That's what we got on Microsoft, so level up there at 440. Could set the stage for 480. If we break down below this uptrend of lows, somewhere around the roadmap line, around 410 right now, Probably going to flush on down here to 350. Ugh, kind of a steep downside. ADM. There's reasons why I'm not involved in some of these trades. ADM bounced off the roadmap line. Down would be the targets. Expectation would be right down there. And SoFi. Why did I put an R in there? And nice potential pop. $10 is low price stuff. Low price stuff doesn't always follow the pattern. Just throwing it out there as a warning. That high, that low. We're in the vicinity to possibly go up to 12. We get up there, watch out for a retrace. We are in the vicinity of the other high, though. It may not work. Low price stuff, low price tickers, not cryptos, not futures, but low priced equities don't always follow the patterns for whatever reason. Sometimes they do their own thing. I think it has to do with the ability of people to push around something. Now, even though it has think about this. For this to move $1, this is kind of crazy for something low priced. For this to move $1, it takes $1 billion of money. That's just kind of wild when I put it in that term. So why would $1 billion of money flow into this, even though it's low price stuff? So it takes to move from where we are at 1050 up here to 1250. Takes $2 billion of money flowing into this. That just seems a little crazy. And next up, did I skip one? CCJ, I think I skipped that one. Didn't mean to. Target right there at 59. Well, let's redo the target. That high, this low, 59. Target's right there at 59, and 61 above that, and 68 above that. Right there. And it can turn down and go back to the roadmap line at any point here. Dun, 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 dun. AAL, American Airlines. I would be careful. Perma cautious. This could drop to 8. It's like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Not almost, but not really overlapping, and we could see one final flush. Possible we already hit it, depending on if it's log mode or not log mode. Not sure. No high probability anything at the moment on AAL. We'll talk about Tesla in the morning. I already talked about Tesla. Moving on. Disney is sitting right here at the roadmap line. I kind of expect a retrace, measure bounce that will push us higher, but we could just keep drifting higher here. Potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That retrace would make sense. Doesn't have to. This made a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little bit higher high. It could go just a little bit higher, then retrace back in this vicinity, and then do a bigger move like this. But we do have that gap down from here to here, and we haven't even attempted to refill it. And gap ups. So if you've never been here before, you're not familiar. So when we gap down with something, somebody bought right here. Like there were buyers participating in that green candle. And then all of a sudden they're underwater. And maybe they doubled down or tripled down or, added to their position here. Or maybe they're just suffering through. When this gets up to here, after coming all the way down from 116 down to 84. Oh, that's a long way down. If this gets back up to this point, right up in here, those people that have sat through the entire move are ready to just GTFO, get their money out, and be done waiting on Disney to come back. It's a big psychology game. So there are sellers that will start selling when we fill that gap and push this down again. Now, that's not the way gap ups work, all right? If you've never heard me say this before, like there weren't people selling right here, and they're like, oh man, I sold and I'm underwater on Disney and I just want to get back in. And when it gap fills, that they start buying. That's not the way, like that psychology just doesn't work. Like that's not the way, that's not the way these work. All right. Like that, if you think that's the way human psychology is, it's not. And that's why that wasn't really like, didn't really provide support, and we just kind of sliced through and kept going. So that works on the upside, it doesn't work on the downside. So when we have people that will be underwater, there were buyers here. That was a green candle. It was a strong day. And then we ended up down here just 2 months later. That's rough. Another 2 months, you're halfway back, or a third of the way back. If you can get back, you just want to get out, right? Just get out. Just got my money back. Maybe you sold some calls along the way. Maybe turned it into a slight profit. I salvaged a horrible situation. I was down like 50%. Now I'm back. Just want to get out, move on. That's why gap ups, or these gaps that were below are important. And that's why I don't really pay attention to gap ups at all. Right? Be careful out there. Hood has a really strong setup to go higher. Nice potential measured bounce. Could take us up here. 35, 40 potential on the upside. Love. And it could run out of steam and retrace. Love, baby. Is like so many of the other airlines just in a downtrend here. Just in a downtrend. And SOUN sound. I forget what that one is. Sound, yeah, Soundhound AI. That's like a heartbeat. Like I said a couple times, like these ones that do the heartbeat thing, where they're like boop, 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 boop. I don't like that. That's hardly tradable. Unless it's something like VIX. VIX does that, but a stock that you're trying to catch on a trend shouldn't do that. And that's low price stuff too. I stay away from things like that. And it's not like a recommendation, but I'd be remiss if I didn't warn that you may lose money. ALB, we talked about this. I think we talked about this already. This looks like it's going lower. And Zoom. Potential for this to have bottomed, but zoom out. You know what that is? We talked about this a little bit ago. Does that look familiar? Right up there. Consolidation. Breakdown. Doesn't that look a lot like that? Kinda. Now. Cool. Where's the trade? I don't know. Like that doesn't, that kind of choppy sideways grind into the abyss doesn't look awesome to me. There is a gap down right there. That's probably going to be resistance when we go fill it finally. It's still long, like that's still 30. That's like 50% move from where we are right now up to that gap fill. Are we ever going to get up to this gap fill? I don't know. Doesn't look like it. Could it rock and roll? It could. I think we find some resistance up here if we ever fill that gap. Right there around 90 to 100. All the reasons I said on Disney apply to Zoom and Amazon. Dang. All right. I'm going to have to reboot this computer. So Amazon has it set up to go higher. I am long. Amazon. Looking for that 208 area right there. $22 trades, 95% of the time it works. 21 profit factor, that's ridiculous. Entry was back here. Could take a while. 20 days on average, could take too long, 2 times, 3 times. I've got 3 times the average right here drawn. I'm expecting this to play out by December. It might not. It might fail. 5% of the time we failed. That one's high probability to go from here to 208. That's the target. And NVIDIA pushing out. It fired off. The bounce was right there. The entry was back here. We retraced. Likely to go up to 148. Now, every dollar this goes higher is $25 billion in the market. I was talking about SoFi earlier. This one, think about how much this moves. That's $25 billion in and out of the market. Every dollar up and down it goes. It's a lot of money. So going from 143 to 148, that's $5 times $25 billion. That's $125 billion. That's how much energy it takes. The bigger they are, the harder, the more energy they take in the market to move that much. You may be like, no way. Yes way. BJ's kicked it off right there. Upside. Potential 94. And DLR. Digital Realty Trust is at the target right there. Cha-ching. That was it today. Tag the target. 165.50. What do we expect now? Possibly 168, possibly 175, but I expect a retrace before we do anything. And PYPL. This one has potential. 82. Now we've got several gap downs over here. Lots of gappy action. And this was interesting because it gapped up, held there for 2 days, and gapped right back down. Lots of gappy stuff over here to provide resistance. These peaks, kind of nasty action. And we're seeing some of that resistance from that one right there. So we're going to have to grind this one up. 82, 89, 100. I kind of expected we would see something up, and we're just scratching the bottom of my target zone there. Thought we might see that when we kicked it off right back here. We hit the target on that one move right there. And the bigger move, potentially topping out right there. Potential. So high probability kind of done on PayPal. Not sure how much upside we got left. Zillow I stepped off of. I didn't like this retrace. Wasn't feeling it. We didn't get the continuation I was looking for. Like, we may just be cooling off, retesting the breakout here. It triggered when we dipped below there, it triggered my point, and I got off. Like I was like, I'm done. Rode it from down here up to here. Retraced. Possibly we're going to pop to 83. Nothing's guaranteed. We may retrace to the roadmap line before we can do it. It could come back down to here before we can do that. And that could be well out here in 25. And NXT. Well, that's going down in a blaze of glory. IPO. Probably going to find a low somewhere in this 20 to 23 area. Probably going to go down there. IPOs are bearish, if you didn't know that. Vast majority, like 95% of IPOs bearish. This was a 3-wave start. Move 1 right there. Move 2 right here. Move 3 right there. And that's a 1, 2, 3. Probably get a 4 and a 5 right down here. Then maybe it could extend even lower, but maybe if we can find support here, set up something bullish, we could go higher. But that's probably where it's going. And if you didn't know, IPOs were bearish. Sorry. I've said that 100 bajillion times. But now this has a reverse split in here. Danger. And it looks a bit like an EKG. Not keen on that. Could go higher, but looks a lot like an EKG with the reverse split, which things that have reverse splits are just kind of on my, like, don't trade that list. It's one of the qualifications for a dumpster fire, along with a chart that dropped off the face of the earth. So, and that strike 2 against HUT, OKTA. And I go more in depth on HUT in Crypto Power Plays. And so if you want to know more, that's the best place for most crypto stuff. I'm not gonna really dive into it here. That's twice I clicked on whatever that was that pops up there. And broke below lows. Might be indicating we're going lower. That low, that high. Support right there where we are. Right there. If we get below that, probably going to extend it down here. 35. For whatever reason in my mind, I get Ukta and Uklo confused in my, like, P-brain app. Still got 70 people here. Still got a few friends. App went on a wild ride. That high. There's that low after you see that IPO low. Now we're rocking and rolling. 182 maybe the upside there. And PRCT. Wow, I just skipped the chat. That was a smooth move there. And there it is. There we are. Back to the roadmap line. Find supports potentially right here. Looking for that move, Look for that resistance at 78 and possibly 89 would be a target if we can break through it. Like that. If we were to rally up like this, there's the potential to, golly, I keep grabbing that lower bar. Do that right there. Oh, right in there. Just a little extra. Right there. There's your upside, potential 89, and your downside, possibly 51. And ZS. Oh, man. I don't like that consolidation. Just don't. Like, that's not my bag. Till we can get out of that funk. I'm not sure we're going higher on ZS. Resistance all the way up here. There's a big gap down there, right there. Golly. It's got it stacked. Things are stacked against this going higher for a while. It's got a lot of stuff to work through. GNPX. That's a dumpster fire. Dumpster fire chart. Don't touch it. Just don't. Just don't. I don't know what to say. Just don't. Carvana. Golly. If this is crazy. If we break above this zone right here at 235, we could actually go make a higher high at 425. This is just absolute insanity to me. This company is a dumpster fire of a company, but doesn't mean it won't work. Talking about pulling a rabbit out of a hat, man. Almost went bankrupt. That was the bubble pattern right there. This is like bubble pattern, baby consolidation, right back to the bottom, right there. Look at that. And now trying to save it from the ashes. We may find significant resistance here. That'll be the key level. If we can break through that, up. If we reject, right back down to the bottom again. And with the economic conditions, maybe, that may be a very real target right there. Macroeconomic situation that I discussed this morning. Still. So that looks like a lot like the bubble pattern. I would be very cautious here. Went right up, consolidate again, break down, probably back down to 40. So you've got like 188, 190 on the upside and 40 on the downside. That's a big range. That's a big range. And CLA chart. Thought I already did that, but looks kind of played out for now. Would be cautious. That move played out. This bigger move, higher time frame. Still has potential 110, 120, 145. Right there. That's a monthly chart bounce. How long? 3 or 4 months, 5 months, I don't know, a few months. Could play out. It's closer to being played out than it is to supports. All right, already did Amazon. ASML is still hunting a bottom. Bounced off the roadmap line. That's why I warn about that right there. If you don't have the roadmap line, link is in the description. It's like $5. Or you can go to my homepage right underneath me here. Click the link for my homepage. Go there and channel homepage. I got it pinned on there. It's like my favorite indicator with some arrows. I guess the video usually auto starts playing. So if you want to grab that, it's there. It's like $5. I'll give you a masterclass, teach you how to use it. I've been using it all day here, so I mean, same exact, all the principles in that masterclass, and the only way you get better at it is practice, and that is potentially at support. But we've got the roadmap line, we've got a downtrend of highs, we've got the 618 way up here, and that could be the bottom now because that lines up. It's one of those weird coincidences where if we break above that 947 area right there, we have that gap, healthy gap down right there that we're gonna have to break. Also, remember, people are stuck in the limited upside to 1171. Could you buy it right now? Yeah. Where would you stop out? I'd stop out at 650 if I bought right now. Be like, whoa, that's like 12% risk. Yeah. But it also could be almost a double on the upside. So you gotta take your lumps. That's just talking shares. Would I play options? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. PCT. Oh, missed the T, I think. Coming up into that resistance. So that did the bubble pattern. They don't all like go ridiculous high. That just, it went from 9.35 back to 5, back to 2, back to 11. Could we break out? Sure. What looks likely? Looks likely to be played out right at the moment. Hitting extensions, that prior high. No, I wouldn't feel good about going long right there. Right there. Now, you could just get lucky and ride the breakouts, and good luck to you. I wouldn't bet on it. I'm not gonna bet on it. That's the lowest low. Those targets don't really mean anything. Yeah. Can't really tell you much. That's not a chart. That's trending. The Cigna. Talked about this a little bit lately. That's potentially a bottom for now. We could bounce back up to the roadmap line and get one more extension lower. 307, 286 below that. And AN. Auto Nation. Wow. Auto industry is like a story of have and have nots. That breaks down below that. We're probably going down in a bigger fashion. Possibly down to 100. Right down here. BTI. Potential for that to hold at the roadmap line. Break back about 37 and continue up to 40. If we break down, back to the lows. 28. TGT. I've talked about this several times lately in the morning show. We're just stuck at the roadmap line. We have a mini pattern in here for 177, 170, 70 something. Draw this mini, that high, this low, 170, 170, 171. And then the bigger pattern, 188 potential. But we haven't actually kicked that off. So if we get to the 177, we will have activated that bigger target on targets. So the little mini pattern, which did fire off here, we got the retrace. We're holding a higher low. If it breaks below this low, all bets are off, and we may go lower than this low right here. That's what we got on target. All right. MS, I think it hit resistance. It looks like it did. 1618 right there. Could be a candidate for a nice retrace. HD. Probably coming back to the roadmap line. And CNI. Good covered call play. It's up to you. I could go. So there was another one that looked a lot like that. I'll just show you. See this right here? Looks like a good covered call play, right? Until it falls out of the bed. So just be careful. PG. Sitting on the roadmap line. That high, that low. Break above the 173 area there. 179 is the upside. And one should never ever shop at Target ever again. Okay, you're welcome to your opinion. JT is the best. Thank you, William. BTBT already did play. Bounced off the roadmap line. May go lower. That low, that high. Next downside support, 28, 26 area right down here. All right, and PLTR, we've lost the 70 people, so I'm going to wrap this up here in a moment. Resistance right there at the line. Imagine that. Prior high. We may see a reaction at that prior high. There's going to be people that bought there, and then same situation. I just want a GTFO. I've been waiting a long time. Now, it could be a little reaction. It could be a big reaction. There you go. Where's SPX now on chart? We covered that in the beginning as ES, S&P 500. We'll cover S&P 500 again in the morning. NVDA, we already did. Z, we already did. Amazon, we already did. RCL. OKLO, we already did. And that's at the targets. Watch out for retrace. 227, 242, maybe extensions. CRWD. This one has that gap. If we can get above that gap, potential for larger moves. 426, 451, possibly up here even to 515, all the way up to potentially 600. It did a measured bounce. Looks pretty spicy. We need to finish the breakout here. Got to fill that gap. Got to get through the gap. Gap can cause resistance. If we do retrace to the roadmap line after filling the gap, that would be an ideal spot to get in if you're not in. So if it does this and does this right here, that point right there, that would be the point where I would consider buying when we bounce. If we just crush it and knife edge it down, forget it. Not for me. But if we can hold right there, come up, fill the gap, retrace, start breaking out, potential for that to rocket to 600. Visa, everywhere you want to be, has come up shy of the target at 296. MA, on the other hand, is through the target, almost to the extension. So MA played out, Visa coming up short. They have some antitrust stuff. Make of that what you will. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks for all the requests. This has been 30 minutes of awesome that lasted an hour and 40 minutes. So thanks for coming. I will be back first thing in the morning, same bat time, same bat channel, 9:15 in the morning. We'll go through what's moving in the pre-market. We have Tesla earnings coming up after the market tomorrow, so I will talk more about Tesla in the morning. Please come and see me. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the button with the notifications. Put a reminder in your phone, 9:15. I also try to hit Discord and Telegram and all the things with the going live. So I'll see you in the morning. Bye for now, everybody.